Greetings. I have an honest thing to tell you. This isn't the type of video where I give you 5 ways to make your life better and then go away. Motivation for 10 minutes and then nothing changes is not the point here. Something greater and more tangible is here. Because the distinction between a calm and a terrible life is what we are discussing today. Everyone wants a reaction in the world we live in. The reason they insult you is to exert power over you. They aim to break you, which is why they ignore you. They propagate falsehoods in order to watch you unravel. And the majority of people react loudly, emotionally, and swiftly. They become agitated. They become uncontrollable. They become weaker. The unfortunate reality is that the majority of individuals are unaware of the extent to which their own responses are ruining their lives. A friendship was destroyed by just one fight. A relationship terminated because of that one text message. Everything changed because of that one angry moment. I therefore ask that you take your time and pay attention today. Because you will become the type of person who doesn't just survive if you really comprehend what I'm going to tell you. You will develop into the type of person who is untouchable, composed, powerful, concentrated, and serene. You no longer let the world to dictate your thoughts, not because life is simple. Those that aspire to achievement are not the exclusive audience for this video. This is for those who are sick of having their emotions break them. This is for those who are prepared to regain their authority at last. And I can assure you that if you stick with me through to the end, you will discover a strength that most people never discover in their lifetime. This is more than just a motivational video. It also strengthens English. Each word is straightforward. Each sentence imparts clarity and strength. It goes beyond simply improving your speech. It's about improving one's thoughts. Let's get started. The first lesson. You are under their influence if you react. When someone has the ability to enrage you by pressing a button. When someone says a single sentence, your entire mood shifts. When you let someone's insult, silence, or viewpoint unsettle you. Your life is no longer under your control. Your emotions are the strings that are being used to manipulate you like a puppet. Reacting fast is perceived as a sign of strength. However, being quick to react does not imply power. It indicates that you are easily influenced. You lose something valuable each time you act without thinking. Your calm, your vitality, your strength. Now consider this. How many times did you react too quickly and ruin your life? How many times have you yelled at a loved one only to later regret it? How often have you responded to a message out of rage and then wished you could take it back? This is the manifestation of emotional servitude. Even though you don't have any chains on your hands, the environment you live in is controlling your emotions. The worst part is that you are completely unaware of it. One young man, for instance, used to work in an office. He adhered to all rules, worked diligently, and stayed late. However, his manager publicly chastised him one day during a team meeting. It was unfair. It was untrue. And he blew up in that instant. He yelled, argued, and stood up for himself. Everyone fell silent. Tension rose in the room. The manager later left in a composed manner. And this young man gained a reputation as the sentimental guy rather than the educated or industrious one. His one response ruined the reputation he had worked so hard to establish. He lost, he didn't win. Because he let someone else to dictate his reaction. The 5-second rule that transforms everything is the answer. This is what individuals with strength do. They stop. The next time someone insults you, lies to you, yells at you, or ignores you, do the same. Don't talk. Stay put. Don't respond. Simply take a breath. Take a breath. Take a 5-second breath out. And in those 5 seconds, you regain control, the one thing no one else should ever have. Because there's a lovely moment when you stop. The feeling begins to wane. The fire begins to subside. And rather than burning, your brain begins to ponder. If necessary, you can still reply, but now your remarks will be forceful rather than foolish. You will act sensibly rather than impulsively. Your entire life will alter as a result of this habit, this one pause, in terms of relationships, business, arguments, family turmoil, and everything else. Because you're not weak when you don't react. You have strength. You cannot be touched. You're at liberty. The second lesson. Most responses become into regrets. There are times in life that we would like to take back and change. One word, one shout, one message, one decision, made without thinking, in fear, in rage. And we cherish those moments for years to come. The insult they gave you is no longer a part of you. The way you responded is what you carry. The failure is not carried by you. When it happened, you carry the way you broke down. The problem does not lie with you. Your emotional response to it is carried with you. Reacting fast is seen as a sign of sincerity or authenticity. In actuality, however, pain, rather than strength, causes quick reactions. When you're trying to survive, you react. When you're trying to develop, you react. When we feel small, we scream. When we feel weak, we assign blame. When we are harmed, we fight. But as the moment passes, what remains? Shame, regret, and guilt. We begin to see that I should have kept quiet. I ought to have stopped. I ought to have ignored it. It's too late by then, though. Because once a reaction is made, it cannot be undone. People never forget, words never fade, and acts never cease. Consider it. Because you reacted too quickly, how many people have you turned away? How many disputes might have been prevented? How many connections might have been avoided? How many calm days have you ruined because you let a negative moment take over? The most agonizing truth is this. Sometimes you have to wait until it's too late to comprehend what you've lost. One woman had a great affection for her younger sister. Like best friends, they were really close. However, the sister made a snarky remark on something delicate that touched a deep wound one day during a family get-together. That's when the woman blew up. In front of everyone, she yelled. She made a statement she couldn't retract. Statements that were untrue. Simply filled with repressed feelings and past grief. The family remained silent. The sister went out. Days went by. The romance didn't return for weeks. Years later, the woman would frequently cry when she saw a picture of the two of them. Not because of her sister's words, but rather because of her response. A lifetime of remorse, one moment, one response. The answer. Practice responding rather than reacting. This is a daily discipline, a muscle, and a mindset. You have to repeat this one line to yourself whenever something unpleasant occurs. This feeling is genuine. However, this response is a decision. You do feel harmed. It's unjust, indeed. You want to scream, yes? Don't, however. Pause instead. Keep your mouth shut. Your body remains the same. Let the feeling rise, but don't move. Feel it. Give yourself permission to experience the dread, the sadness, and the rage, but only in quiet. Give it a name. Yourself, am I reacting to the moment or to something old that still lives in me? Hold off for 10 minutes, an hour, or even a day. Then, and only then, answer with authority, composure, and sincerity. Relationships can be saved by this one habit. Your calm may be preserved. Your future may be saved by it. Because while responding may feel powerful at the time, peace is more powerful and never leads to regret. The third lesson. One of the superpowers is silence. Noise is adored by everyone. People are always discussing, fighting, defending, and attempting to win, appear strong, or prove they are correct. You won't hear this truth in most videos, though. The loudest folks aren't always the strongest. They are the reserved ones who can prove anything without speaking. Silence is misinterpreted, you see. Silence is perceived as weakness. That you're afraid if you're silent. Because you're scared if you leave. The reality, however, is the reverse. Remaining composed requires more energy than yelling. Walking away is a wiser move than arguing. Silence requires greater strength. When you want to fight with all in you. Control is silence. Focus is silence. Dignity is silence. Because others are unaware of your thoughts while you remain mute. They have no idea what you will do next. They have no idea whether they have harmed you or whether you have already prevailed. Power is that enigma. For instance, one man's old friend publicly ridiculed him on social media. Distorted pictures, false narratives, and outright character assassination. Everyone thought he would fight back. Everyone was waiting for him to go live, post his side, and respond. However, he didn't. He remained silent. He was accused of being weak, cowardly, and guilty. But he said nothing. The truth was revealed 6 months later. Someone else exposed the dishonest friend. The man's silence was now interpreted as a sign of power, dignity, and class. Because he was winning while everyone else was yelling. Silently, the answer. Silence is not a weakness, it is a weapon. It's not necessary to answer every insult. For those who have already made up their minds, you don't need to explain yourself. Posting, messaging, defending, or fighting for your dignity is not necessary. Silence is sometimes the most effective thing you can do. Allow your quiet to be more powerful than your words. Here's how to leverage silence in a fight. I understand, you say. And leave. Avoid arguing. Let them be burned by their own words. Don't be a part of the drama. Take a step back. Allow the truth to emerge on its own. Don't shout in a disrespectful manner. Don't cry. Don't elaborate. Keep your mouth shut and look them in the eyes. People will take notice. You win when they do. Not by responding, but by overcoming. The fall lesson. Not everything is worthy of your energy. Attempting to fight every war, defend yourself in every dispute, establish your value to every critic, and reply to every message, insult, and misunderstanding is one of the biggest blunders you can make in life. It may sound courageous, but in practice, it's how you ruin your focus, your energy, your tranquility, and your future. Because this is what you need to know. Your time is not worth it for everything. You don't have to react to everyone. Your emotional commitment is not required for every issue. Your daily energy is finite. Additionally, you have less money left over for the correct things each time you give it to the wrong person. You invest your energy in rumors. You expend energy pursuing your objectives. You devote yourselves to hatred. Love saps your energy. After investing your energy in things that drain you, you question why you feel empty. Some people desire your reaction because it boosts their ego to see you upset, damaged, or triggered, not because they care about you. Peace is not what they desire. They are looking for drama. Furthermore, you will never create your own world if you continue to enter theirs. One college student, for instance, was intelligent, well-behaved, and concentrated. She used to study diligently, dream big, and stay up late. However, one day, false information about her was circulated. Claimed to have cheated on an exam. They whispered her name. People's perceptions of her changed. Some people stopped interacting with her. She was upset. She attempted to explain herself to everyone by writing lengthy posts on the internet. At night, she sobbed, wondering why no one took her word for it. Weeks went by. She became distracted. She gave up on her studies. Her dreams ceased, she turned resentful. All because she invested her efforts in something she ought to have abandoned. She had the option to remain silent. She had the option to speak with her actions. However, she wasted her energy on individuals who didn't deserve it. She made a devastating statement years later. Because of what they stated, I didn't lose. Because I attempted to rectify what wasn't important, I lost. The answer? Learn to safeguard your energy as though it were precious. This is what you need to accomplish. Construct a mental list. What is worthy of my energy today? Leave it alone if it's not on that list. Don't engage in pointless conflict. Arguments are not why you are here. To win your life is your goal. Give up trying to explain yourself to those who are determined to misunderstand you. Your remarks won't affect their opinion of you if they have already done so. Only react when there is room for progress. It's a trap if the chat doesn't help you get up. This is not a sign of weakness. This is sagacity. Peace is not found in winning every battle, therefore you don't have to participate in every one you're invited to. Knowing which struggles are worthless is the first step toward finding peace. The fifth lesson. Whoever maintains composure wins. Those who remain composed in the face of chaos are respected by the world. People who are calm are trusted. People who are calm are appreciated. People who are calmer make wiser choices, form greater bonds with others, and lead longer lives. Why? Because you maintain your power when you remain composed. You can see well when you remain composed. Even if you remain silent, maintaining your composure makes you the leader of the room. Most people lead chaotic lives. They cry, yell, panic, react, blame, lose control, and question why nothing works. However, the person who remains composed becomes the antithesis of the storm. The silence that frightens it off. Being calm does not imply that you are pain-free. It indicates that you have mastered the ability to bear suffering with fortitude rather than fear. For instance, there was a man on a packed train once. Abruptly, a second man stepped into the cabin. Drunk, furious, yelling, pushing, and crazy. Everyone grew tense. While some shouted back, some stepped aside, and some began to record, one elderly man stayed motionless, composed, and unfazed. The irate man came toward him, prepared to fight. Calmly, the elderly guy said, meeting his eyes. "How did today go for you? I apologize for bringing you this far." The inebriated man halted. He dropped his fists. His gaze grew softer. He took a seat and sobbed. One serene man altered the energy of the entire train, causing it to become silent. He did not respond. He didn't engage in combat. He knew something that others did not. It's not about me. Calm people understand that not all storms outside need to turn into storms within. The remedy cultivates the discipline of composure. It is not natural to be calm. Like a warrior prepares for battle, you must practice for it. Here's how. Take deep breaths frequently. It's not merely a habit to breathe. It's a weapon. Your mind pays attention when your body is at ease. Before you speak, observe. Allow individuals to be authentic. Let things happen. Then react strategically rather than emotionally. Before you act, emotionally distance yourself. Consider whether my actions are motivated by pain or the truth. Wait if it hurts. Go ahead if it's true. Remain composed in the face of little setbacks, such as a spilled coffee, a delayed train, or an unpleasant message. You are training in these sessions. You'll be more prepared when life gives you the big storms if you practice being calm in the little ones. Keep in mind that anyone can shout, cry, or panic. However, life always favors the quiet mind over the noisy one, so the person who can sit in the fire and still see well, speak softly, and move sensibly wins. The sixth lesson, reaction is habit. Power comes from response. Most individuals are unaware of this. Their anger isn't causing them to react. They've always reacted, so they are reacting now. They have developed a habit of reacting. It operates automatically. It's sentimental. It's no longer an option. Additionally, you stop questioning anything once it becomes a habit. You simply do it. You fight back when someone treats you disrespectfully. You cry when someone ignores you. You yell when someone cuts you in traffic. Do I need to react to this? Is a question you never pause to consider. You simply respond. Because you've always done that. Here's the potent reality, though. It is an instinctual reaction. The reaction is deliberate. Furthermore, only one of them results in power, respect, prosperity, and peace. Let's examine the distinction. Reactions are quick, emotional, and uncontrollable. It originates from a wounded area within you. A answer is composed, lucid, and aware. It originates in a strong location within you. Reacting people are noisy, untamed, and destructive, much like a volcano. However, the respondent is untouchable, deep, and steadfast like the ocean. Today, you need to question yourself if you're responding like a master or like a machine. Because their lives are governed by those who answer. Reacting people are controlled by their feelings. For instance, a young man used to be a server in a crowded restaurant. He was courteous, focused, and friendly. A wealthy client came in one evening. Rude and entitled, he snapped orders, clicked his fingers, and finally yelled, "You deaf, stupid, or just lazy," across the room when his food was delayed. The whole eatery froze. Everyone thought the young man would protect himself, fight back, or respond, but he didn't. He turned to face the man, grinned, and said, "Sir, I'm trying my hardest," with steady, serene eyes. "I'll continue to treat you with respect because that's who I am, but I understand if that's not enough for you today." There was silence in the room. The client, who had entered appearing powerful, now appeared diminutive. The waiter, who had appeared helpless, rose to his feet. The manager gave the young man a promotion the same evening after observing the entire event. Why? Since he had discovered what most people never do. It's instinctive to react, wisdom is the response. The profound cause of our reactions. When we are not aware of our wounds, we react. You will overreact to being neglected today if you were ignored constantly as a child. Any slight disrespect will cause you to overreact if you have ever been humiliated. You will overreact to distance in a relationship if you have ever been abandoned. Therefore, it is not about the person in front of you when you react. It's about the inward anguish that never went away. And you will continue to react to things that don't deserve your suffering until you realize that. You'll continue to maintain your composure in situations that don't merit it. The answer? Transform your response into consciousness. Then comes the answer. The habit can be broken. Your mind can be reprogrammed. Here's how. Before everything else, pause. Take it, even if it's only one breath. Cut the automatic chain. Power resides in space, which is created by that one breath. One question for yourself. Is it about the present or something from the past? The emotion you're experiencing is frequently unrelated to the here and now. It's a trigger, a hurt, or a memory. The key to regaining control is awareness. React with facts, not feelings. Emotion is erratic, but truth is powerful. Only speak when your heart is at peace and your truth is clear. Every day, practice responding, even to little situations. Get used to being cut off in traffic. When your pal forgets to text back, practice. When life seems unfair, practice. Every second is a practice. Every breath is an opportunity to get stronger. There is no need for new reactors in the planet. More responders are required. Because those who maintain composure, choose awareness over wrath, think before speaking, and feel before acting are the ones that ascend, lead, and are remembered for their grace rather than their cacophony. The question is yours now. Will you begin responding from the power of your future, or will you continue to react from the hurt of your past? The seventh lesson. Let go of your ego if you seek serenity. People endure a great deal of suffering in silence for a purpose. Pain isn't the only reason. Fear isn't always the reason. Not even other people are to blame. Most of the time, ego is to blame. That voice inside me, silent and unseen, tells me that they ought to have treated me better. I must demonstrate my correctness. I'm worthy of greater respect. They don't think I'm valuable. I'm hurt by that. I can't allow them to prevail. You respond as a result. You answer. You battle. You give an explanation. Your ego is screaming for attention, not because it's required. However, you are unaware that your ego is not your strength. Your ego is your jail. You remain trapped, irate, resentful, and unfree because of it. The ego always seeks attention, affection, admiration, respect, and praise. However, the ego panics when the world refuses to provide you those things. And you react when your ego goes into overdrive. Your ego tells you they can't talk to me like that, so you yell during a disagreement. Your ego tells you that they don't know who I am, so you respond to a hateful comment. Your ego tells you that you have to defend yourself, so you always express your side of the argument. However, this is the reality that no one wants to hear. What is already true doesn't need to be defended. What already exists doesn't need to be demonstrated. Furthermore, being right doesn't need being loud. You rise when you let rid of your ego. Because your soul lives in peace, while your ego lives in anguish. For instance, there was a man who worked for a corporation for many years. He sacrificed everything, his commitment, his time, and his health. However, the business abruptly replaced him one day. No thanks, no apologies, nothing. Anger filled his heart. How could they do this to me? His ego cried. Are they unaware of my identity? I threw myself into them. In order to exact retribution and expose the firm, he desired to go public. Yet before taking any action, he talked to his grandma, who had endured poverty, betrayals, and wars yet still had calm in her eyes. Listen carefully, my child, she said. By disproving others, you don't get better. By demonstrating to yourself that their behavior will not dictate your future, you can find healing. He was forever altered by those remarks. He didn't engage in combat. He refrained from attacking. He left in a clear, dignified, and silent manner. 6 months later, he quietly and steadily launched his own business. Because he let go of his ego and clung to peace, he was more successful years later than the very people who had deceived him. Why does ego cause you to react? Since ego is noisy. It cannot tolerate rudeness. Rejection is intolerable to it. It cannot endure quiet. Therefore, your ego blows up whenever someone questions your value, forgets it, or leaves you without saying why. Here's the risk, though. Ego seeks retribution. Freedom is what your soul desires. Additionally, you will continue to lose tranquility if you continue to choose ego. Every comment will cause you to react. You will quarrel with every idiot. To win short-term wars, you will ruin relationships. But you'll be by yourself with your ego and your serenity after the conflict is over. The answer is to kill your ego. Always choose peace. This is the most crucial section. If you do not face your ego, you will never be able to control your emotions. Listen for the voice. Pause whenever you feel the need to defend, attack, or justify. Inquire, is this my soul speaking or my ego screaming? Allow others to misjudge you. It's strong, yet it's difficult. Your truth should not be accessible to everyone. Allow them to misinterpret you. Let them speak. A comfortable version of yourself is not something you owe to everyone. Give up trying to be correct. We frequently remain trapped in the wrong energy because we feel the need to be correct. Consider whether peace or righteousness is more vital. Where the ego wants to yell, choose stillness. Breathe, smile, and go the next time someone treats you disrespectfully and you feel the fire rising. You are no longer controlled by something as brittle as ego, not because you are weak. Keep in mind that your value is unquestionable. To demonstrate it, you don't have to respond. To defend it, you don't have to talk. All you have to do is live it calmly, clearly, and with peaceful assurance. You experience a great thing when you let go of your ego. You give up looking for approval. You cease responding to sounds. You cease demonstrating your value. And you feel light for the first time in your life. You are at liberty. You feel invincible. Because noise isn't conducive to peace. It resides in the quiet, serene heart that no longer needs to prevail in every debate. The majority of individuals never discover that type of power. However, you just did. Select it now. Not again, not one. But each day. Because you will always feel more at ease the less you have to react, the more power you actually own, and the less ego you carry. You finally understand the reality. You don't have to respond to every situation. You don't have to engage in every conflict. People who never saw it in the first place don't need to see how valuable you are. Just because the world throws you the drama, the noise, and the suffering doesn't mean you have to bear it. Reactions are only one aspect of who you are. Anger is not who you are. You are more than the passing storms. You're at ease. You have depth. You're steady, and you're free now. I hope you never lose your tranquility again after this. Not for anybody or anything. May you find strength in your solitude. I hope your composure turns into confidence. May you live your life with knowledge. Additionally, if the world tries to drag you into chaos, take a moment to yourself, breathe, and recall your identity. The cacophony isn't where you belong. Peace, purpose, and calm strength are the things you were born for. Because sometimes the loudest thing you can say is nothing at all. Remain honest, remain motionless, and continue to rise in silence. I appreciate you watching. You have my admiration. May God grant you courage, serenity, and a life that no reaction can ruin, from the bottom of my heart to yours. Look after your mental health. Keep your spirit safe. Remember that maintaining your composure does not make you weak. Words cannot express how powerful you are. Stay tough, remain silent, and remain free till the next time.